The U.S. government designates John Saldivar as significantly corrupt. We'll tell you what that means both for Saldivar and the UDP. And a man lured out of his house and murdered in Cotton Tree. Also, a dangerous curve on the George Price Highway leaves one man dead and another in a coma. Plus, we'll take you aboard Tropicara's first flight to San Pedro Sula. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Tuesday, November 15, 2022. Good evening with your news. I'm Minter Crank.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Atla Express es un servicio que te permite realizar transacciones financieras cómodamente en comercios cerca de ti. Con Atla Express puedes retirar efectivo, realizar pagos de facturas y tarjeta de crédito, comprar recargas y transferir entre tus cuentas. Solo necesitas una identificación válida y tu tarjeta de débito Visa de Atlantic Bank. Si no eres cliente de Atlantic Bank, siempre puedes disfrutar de este servicio pagando en efectivo. Atla Express es fácil, conveniente, seguro y está cerca de ti.
You have been a safe driver all your life when an unavoidable accident happens. But this does not mean that your insurance premium must increase. With RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, safe drivers will not lose their no-claims discounts because of those minor, unavoidable accidents. For more information on RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, contact us at 223-5734. When it comes to motor insurance, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Balisi, chuluhal unsuhati, lidane ha talugro huna gamisa mikado, agamba humana, dahal lu talugro huna gamisa loag hawayur garinogu loago disinefu. Hanere mebeleweri labro haibegi, chuluhu maya mikado 14 luma disinefu lida hatile. Sisi wei lu areda hane huagurugu, mabule du hubei hafedu garinogu loagi rumole. Libido age kati lida ge sunle, mama luti hofudaha laduga yimbe saragu da tuma saragu gamisa luha gainha. Gumesa ge huma, abia humamu ge luweri la dewe ha mikado, mabule da hume labro ha luma luna bibegile yara mikado. 14 luma disinefu lida hatile. Mabule da humele herengu be meistrugu. Gibe tumat hewaro tabulu dunuru to tulugebo. Nerenga yale labro ha luma luna bebegile 14 luma disinef lida hatile. Aniha wa dewe ha. Lida bagaye ha wama yembe aba deweti lu agaye gurguba yara mikado. Luagu uma darandi sedu lemeri Albert. Tubie bara tubido age gamisa.
Sun up with us this Wednesday, November 16th, as we sit down with Prime Minister John Briceño. He's here to reflect on the 2 years in office, the aftermath of Hurricane Lisa, and where Belize is headed as 2022 comes to a close. That's coming up on Wednesday, only on Sun Up on 7.
Not accused of corruption. So let's stop that right bloody there.
Five-term UDP-era Representative Honorable Patrick Farber, who continues to serve his people diligently, is barred from seeking re-election as the UDP candidate in the Collet constituency. But John Birchman Saldivar, who the U.S. State Department has now designated for his involvement in significant corruption and interfering in public processes for his personal gain during his tenure in office, is not only running for office again, but running the party as a regional leader along with Shine and Perifete. What has our beloved United Democratic Party come to?
Not accused of corruption. So let's stop that right bloody there.
A message from the UDP Coalition for Unity and Reform.
I had a black dog. His name was Depression. Whenever the black dog made an appearance, I felt empty and life just seemed to slow down. He could surprise me with a visit for no reason or occasion. The black dog made me look and feel older than my years. When the rest of the world seemed to be enjoying life, I could only see it through the black dog. Activities that usually brought me pleasure suddenly ceased to. He liked to ruin my appetite. He chewed up my memory and my ability to concentrate. Doing anything or going anywhere with the black dog required superhuman strength. At social occasions, he'd sniff out what confidence I had and chase it away. My biggest fear was being found out. I worried that people would judge me. Because of the shame and stigma of the black dog, I was constantly worried that I'd be found out. So I invested vast amounts of energy into covering him up. Keeping up an emotional lie is exhausting. Black dog could make me think and say negative things. He could make me irritable and difficult to be around. He would take my love and bury my intimacy. He loved nothing more than to wake me up with highly repetitive and negative thinking. He also liked to remind me how exhausted I was going to be the next day. Having a black dog in your life isn't so much about feeling a bit down, sad or blue. At its worst, it's about being devoid of feeling altogether. As I got older, the black dog got bigger and he started hanging around all the time. I'd chase him off with whatever I thought might send him running. But more often than not, he'd come out on top. Going down became easier than getting up again. So I became rather good at self-medication, which never really helped. Eventually, I felt totally isolated from everything and everyone. The black dog had finally succeeded in hijacking my life. When you lose all joy in life, you can begin to question what the point of it is. Thankfully, this was the time that I sought professional help. This was my first step towards recovery and a major turning point in my life. I learned that it doesn't matter who you are, the black dog affects millions and millions of people. It is an equal opportunity mongrel. I also learned that there was no silver bullet or magic pill. Medication can help some, and others might need a different approach altogether. I also learned that being emotionally genuine and authentic to those who are close to you can be an absolute game changer. Most importantly, I learnt not to be afraid of the black dog, and I taught him a few new tricks of my own. The more tired and stressed you are, the louder he barks, so it's important to learn how to quiet your mind. It's been clinically proven that regular exercise can be as effective for treating mild to moderate depression as antidepressants, so go for a walk or a run and leave the mutt behind. Keep a mood journal. Getting your thoughts on paper can be cathartic and often insightful. Also keep track of the things that you have to be grateful for. The most important thing to remember is that no matter how bad it gets, if you take the right steps, talk to the right people, black dog days can and will pass. I wouldn't say that I'm grateful for the black dog, but he's been an incredible teacher. He forced me to reevaluate and simplify my life. I learnt that rather than running away from my problems, it's better to embrace them. The black dog may always be part of my life, but he'll never be the beast that he was. We have an understanding. I've learned through knowledge, patience, discipline and humour, the worst black dog can be made to heal. If you're in difficulty, never
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, the UDP may be at its lowest low. Its former party leader and former Minister of National Security, John Saldivar, has been designated by the U.S. State Department as involved in significant corruption while he was in office. In an extraordinary public declaration issued this afternoon, Saldivar became the first Belizean official to be named as significantly corrupt by the U.S. As a consequence of this, he and his immediate family have been barred entry to the United States indefinitely. What triggered it? Well, Saldivar has a well-publicized history of relationships with criminal characters, principally Danny Mason and Lev Derman. The U.S. says he abused Coast Guard vessels and took bribes for the improper acquisition of Belizean immigration documents, which may go way back to the immigration scandal of 2013, when UDP ministers were found to be making recommendations for Asians seeking visas. Tonight, to revisit the Lev Derman angle of the Saldivar saga and its consequences, Jules Vasquez updates the story he first did in February of 2020 after the Derman revelations forced Saldivar to step down as UDP leader.
Throughout the Lev Derman ordeal, perhaps what has been the most amazing thing is John Saldivar's insistence that he did nothing wrong with Jacob Kingston or Derman.
You look to Utah next week with anxiety?
Oh, not at all. I know that there's nothing that's going to come from that that's going to affect me in any negative way.
How wrong he knew he was. In less than 72 hours, John Saldivar went from the political pinnacle to the political dumpster. And his demise was cemented with the release of these text messages with Jacob Kingston. Saldivar, on his known cell phone number, is seen to ask Kingston to send $50,000 to Miami for him to pick up. In February of 2014, Saldivar told Kingston he is, quote, out of cash and, quote, really need the February tranche. He declined a wire transfer, which leaves a paper trail saying, not sure that's a good idea. Saldivar said he could fly to Miami to pick the money up. How much? Well, the usual, as he refers to it, was $25,000 monthly. But Saldivar asked for the March disbursement at the same time. One has to ask, with such regular monthly payments, what was Lev Derman and his associate buying or paying for? Saldivar says absolutely nothing. For sure, the business they were doing needed no invoice and no receipt, just a casual "enough thanks" for $100,000 delivered to Miami with love from Utah. And perhaps that casual rejoinder, "enough thanks," is an illustration of how commonplace it was. Perhaps not. He resigned and is now politically damaged goods, if not dead meat. But his colleague, friend, and sometimes adversary thinks he can still make a comeback.
Saldivar is a fighter and he's one who keeps coming back.
But the comeback from this cash money, political fundraising in plain view, and possibly money laundering laid bare will be difficult, if not impossible. But he came back from a convention defeat in 2010 and again in 2016, still to gain the greatest heights in the UDP political pantheon, even with a very dark cloud directly above his head, a feat of unmatched daring, not to be underestimated. But now that he has gone from victor to vapor in less than 72 hours, it will be interesting to see if Saldivar plans another comeback. Man of many comebacks probably can't come back from this one. His designation as a significantly corrupt public official now seems to resolutely end any possibility that he can be viewed as politically viable. The fact sheet on his designation says it is, quote, due to his involvement in significant corruption. This designation renders Saldivar and his immediate family members generally ineligible for entry into the United States. The document later adds the names of these family members and includes his child, who is just a minor. The opening paragraph says bluntly, Saldivar accepted bribes in exchange for improperly facilitating the acquisition of Belizean immigration documents and interfered in public processes for personal gain. Later on, it adds that he, quote, misused a U.S. donated Coast Guard boat for his personal gain. That could be his famous boat ride with Lev Derman, which in an audio clip ascribed to Saldivar, he is heard to refer to it casually.
Now I understand why when Lev Mikona believes Lev, when I carry Lev by the Coast Guard boat, I carry Lev and all of these Mormons on my fishing trip out there in the Coast Guard boat and so. That is how he was, according to Jacob, asserting that, hey, you listen to me, or else you could get because I have friends all over the world. My network of powerful people. That's how my name come to be mentioned. That's how I get it $25,000 every month. That's how my name come into it. You get a lot of money for a live.
Of course, there was also the time Saldivar used a Coast Guard vessel to transport his football team.
The U.S. government donated the vessels under very strict terms, and sources tell us that the Americans have complained to Foreign Affairs about the alleged abuses. The allegation made first in the Belize Times last week is that the Coast Guard vessels were used to transport team members, management, family members, and friends to San Pedro whenever the bandits have games scheduled on the island. So what is the U.S. Embassy's specific interest? Well, the Boston Whalers, which the U.S. Embassy donated to the Coast Guard from as early as 2012, are allegedly among these vessels being used for the Football Friends and Family ferry service.
But that was way back in 2017. So why is the designation coming more than 5 years later? The fact sheet from the State Department says it, quote, obtained credible information regarding Saldivar's involvement in significant corruption while serving as a Belizean minister. Now, in any rational political landscape, this would immediately force Saldivar to retreat indefinitely from the political foreground and forsake any hope of offering himself as a candidate. But in the upside-down world of the UDP, the rules of regular political logic do not apply. The fact is, Saldivar is Shine Barrow's principal political ally, and in some sense even his protector.
And this man right here is a man of the people, is a man of utmost humility, is a dedicated servant.
So now we have to wait and see where leader Shine Barrow goes next, whether he will resolutely distance himself and force Saldivar to stand down from offering himself as a candidate, or if he will just let it ride, keep him around, and himself risk angering the U.S. State Department.
And while that is Jules Vasquez's political commentary on the options for Saldivar tonight, it looks like he isn't going anywhere. In a Facebook post, he says, quote, the actions of the United States Department of State to today designate me as a corrupt official due to bribery in immigration matters is completely out of left field, baseless, and malicious. As a minister of government, I have conducted myself with absolute probity and integrity. I am at a loss as to why the State Department would want to target me and my family, and without providing absolutely any evidence to explain their conclusion. No due process has been observed, no contact has been made with me, no evidence has been provided to me, but the mighty United States has chosen to impugn my character and malign my reputation. I cannot begin to guess what or who may be behind these malicious allegations and who could be so powerful to get the State Department to invoke such a declaration. I am consulting with local attorneys, fully cognizant that I will need a U.S. attorney to fight this in the United States if I so wish. I am also consulting regarding recourse for my wife and children who have been maliciously prosecuted by this action. Some person or persons want me out of Belizean politics, and they seem to have powerful allies in the United States State Department. There will be those who will rejoice at this without any regard to the fact that absolutely no evidence has been presented. But I will not allow these unfounded and malicious allegations to drive me out of politics. My resolve is even stronger now, end quote. So, there you heard it. Saldivar is going to fight the designation, and he is remaining in politics, where he has again offered himself as a candidate for the UDP in Belmopan. And his leader, Shine Barrow, is holding the line for him. He issued a statement a short time ago saying, "We treat very seriously the allegations of corruption being made by the U.S. State Department against former Minister John Saldivar. Notwithstanding our zero tolerance of corruption by public officials, we must be guided by the fundamental principles of due process, and in the Belize judicial system, all are innocent until proven guilty." The opposition will take steps to gather all the facts presented by the U.S. State Department and the accused as we determine the way forward to implement our anti-corruption policy in a fair and just manner, demonstrating to the nation that we have zero tolerance for corruption. End quote. We take that to mean Saldivar remains in good standing as a potential candidate until the party, quote, gathers all the facts. Of course, those facts are very well known in both the public domain and within the UDP, so it's another wait and see for the opposition, as pressure will surely mount on the party leader to act decisively in the face of the unprecedented U.S. designation. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about a murder in Cotton Tree, plus the BDF soldier who cursed out police after he says they assaulted him, went to court today. Don't go away.
It's an massive season with massive deals and rewards at Penny's. From now through December 31st, earn double P-Bucks on store-wide purchasing every Friday and Saturday. That's right, 2 times the P-Bucks, which means 2 times the cash back when shopping at Penny's. Plus, get even more rewards with P-Bucks Builders on home goods, tiles, appliances, paints, and lights. And don't forget, there's also massive deals and discounts on tiles and the best brands in paints like Benjamin Moore and BH. Rewards, deals, P-Bucks. You can get it all this massive season only at Penny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Atla Express is a service that allows you to perform financial transactions conveniently at your neighborhood stores countrywide. Enjoy the convenience of cash withdrawals, bill payments, credit card payments, top-up, or transfer between your accounts. All you need is your Atlantic Bank Visa debit card along with an ID. Non-Atlantic Bank customers can also enjoy this service by paying with cash. Atla Express is easy, convenient, secure, and near you.
Well, I passed this place down Albert Street and I wonder which new store the bus. It was so welcoming and organized, friendly and courteous staff. But wait, that is same Delta store. Delta store has been revamped to make your shopping experience a whole lot better. But not forget, the best part, the Delta store, everything that is $4.99 or less. You hear right? $4.99 or less. So come on down, Delta store today and shop in style and comfort while you stretch your dollar.
Sun up with us this Wednesday, November 16th, as we sit down with Prime Minister John Briceño. He's here to reflect on the 2 years in office, the aftermath of Hurricane Lisa, and where Belize is headed as 2022 comes to a close. That's coming up on Wednesday, only on Sun Up on 7.
We live in a world where undernutrition and obesity can exist side by side in the same country, home, or even person. Foods high in sugars, salt, and/or unhealthy fats are leading to unhealthy diets and are one reason why children may not be growing healthily, while causing other people to develop overweight or obesity. The consumption of unhealthy diets is heavily influenced by marketing. Easy access is fueling this new nutrition reality. But thankfully, change towards a healthier future is possible. By having a sustainable healthy diet made up of a variety of foods that are safe for consumption, we can promote health and have better abilities to fight illness. How do we do this? Good nutrition for women during pregnancy and for children in their first 1,000 days of life, including breastfeeding, sets them up for healthy adulthood and future generations. We should eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts and seeds, and less sugary drinks and foods high in sugars, salt and unhealthy fats. The less of these foods we buy, the more the food industry will be encouraged to produce foods that contribute to healthy diets. We can also call on our leaders to make the right decisions so that every person, everywhere, can afford and access good nutrition. When people like you and me, industries and governments work together to make positive changes, we can create a healthier world.
Social Security, transforming service delivery. My Social Security is your secure online account to manage all your Social Security information. My Social Security launched in March 2021 with registration service to apply online for new or replacement Social Security cards. Upgrades to My Social Security continues with a new look, enhanced customer experience, and its newest feature, Sickness Benefit Online application. With My Social Security, you can create your account, log in, and take control of your Social Security information. This includes applying for a new or replacement Social Security card for yourself, child, or dependent. Make appointments online and submit your complete sickness benefit claim package. Our customer care team is here to provide you, our valued customers, with real-time support. Connect with one of our customer care agents through direct messages on WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or live chat, or follow our YouTube channel for more information, tutorials, and guides. A complete 360 view of your Social Security information is coming soon, which includes a new employer portal for employers, businesses, and self-employed persons, contributions history and statements, all SSB benefits, medical portal for registered doctors, and fingerprint enrollment all in one place. Social Security at your fingertips. The significant enhancement of service delivery to you is here. My Social Security.
Not accused of corruption. So let's stop that right bloody there.
Five-term UDP-era Representative Honorable Patrick Farber, who continues to serve his people diligently, is barred from seeking re-election as the UDP candidate in the Collet constituency. But John Birchman Saldivar, who the U.S. State Department has now designated for his involvement in significant corruption and interfering in public processes for his personal gain during his tenure in office, is not only running for office again, but running the party as a regional leader along with Shine and Perifete. What has our beloved United Democratic Party come to?
Not accused of corruption. So let's stop that right bloody there.
A message from the UDP Coalition for Unity and Reform.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Year-old Reese Riverol, also called Biggs or Bigga, was killed last night, shot in the back just in front of his Crooked 3 home by an assailant who seemed to have lured him outside. It happened at around 9:15 at mile 31 on the Philip Goldson Highway. A cruel killing that the father of two's family is struggling to comprehend tonight because, according to them, he was a hard worker who wasn't in the business of causing trouble. We heard more about Reese's life and death this morning from his older sister, Royani.
Reese Riverol had gone in for the night when he heard the sound of stones on his roof. That led him outside to investigate and brought him face to face with his killer.
Yes, he was inside his house and he heard a sound like a stone hitting his roof. So he proceeded to go outside to see exactly who was it or what was it. And when he went outside, he didn't see anyone. So Reese went back inside his house and he told his girlfriend that he felt a little peckish. And he heard the the thump again on his rooftop. So he went back outside. And when he went back outside, he noticed no one was there, but turning away from the direction, like towards the roadside, turning his body, going back inside. That's when he was shot in his back. He got one shot, but at a close range. That shot was at a close range, because from the footage that we have, you know, we saw exactly that it was close. And before he died, he yelled for his girlfriend, and he told her, babe, I get shot, I dead. And he hit the ground, and that was it. No pulse, no nothing, no breath, nothing. That was it. I don't know why they would want to target my little brother, because he's like a gentle giant, you know. Reese doesn't trouble anyone unless you trouble him. You know, he's a protector. He has two little sons, a 6-month-old and a 3-month-old that just turned 3 months old today. To get this news last night, it's really devastating. I mean, they did so much to him that, I don't know, I can't even explain. I mean, he didn't deserve this, really and truly.
I want to come back to what you said, though. They did so much to him. You mean that in the sense of not just the physical, but of how this has really destroyed his young family and your wider family?
Yes, because we have a big family. I mean, we're a family of 9 kids. And he is the 5th out of the 9. And my little brother was, you know, trying his best to work. Any little jobs that he works for his family to take care of his 2 sons. You know, to let someone do this to him, it's uncalled for.
And Royanne says what breaks her heart is the crushing reality that she'll never again share even commonplace moments with her baby brother.
To be honest, I don't know. I'm never going to hear his voice. I'm never going to hear his laughter. I'm never going to ask him to do me some favors anymore. I mean, as his big sister, you know, he's always there for me and my kids. And he's always there to give a helping hand to anyone. So to go through this, it's just heartbreaking.
Cherise Haltel, 7 News.
Reese Riverall leaves behind a girlfriend and 2 children. We turn now to a bit of positive news coming out of the tourism industry. The local airline Tropicair expanded its regional network today with an inaugural flight to San Pedro Sula in Honduras. It's their 4th international flight into Central America, and they invited the tourism industry and the press to celebrate the milestone with them. Our 7 News was there for the 2 ceremonies, one in Belize and the other in San Pedro Sula. Daniel Ortiz has that story.
This morning, Tourism Minister Anthony Mahler and his team from the ministry and the Belize Tourism Board joined Tropicair's CEO Steve Schulte and the other Tropicair employees in celebrating the Belizean Airline Company's inaugural flight to San Pedro Sula, Honduras.
Tropicair was founded to bring tourists to San Pedro. Together with our partner hotels and the Belize Tourist Board, we've had great success in growing tourism in all of Belize. The airline industry is the door through which tourists arrive. Today, we are opening another door to San Pedro Sula to continue that growth.
For the last 2.5 years, we've been going through COVID, the war in the Ukraine, inflation, last week being hit by hurricane. But I must say that we've been a resilient industry. Like Mr. Schulte said, airlift into a country for the overnight sector is the lifeblood. We have put an inordinate amount of effort into building airlift into Belize, going to routes, going to the airlines headquarters to meet them, to talk to them, to pitch Belize, to provide incentives. And We promised 2 years ago that we will do everything possible to continue to build airlift. With the partnership with Tropic Air, we have done so again.
It is the air carrier's fourth international route to the Central American region, and to celebrate its departure from Belize, the tourism execs indulged in a small cake and ribbon-cutting ceremony. According to the CEO, Tropic Air will have to be patient and allow this new flight at least 2 years to mature before it will start to see returns on the investment.
The tourism industry is never static, and so we're always looking for new opportunities to increase the tourism coming to Belize. The regional flights help us connect with some of the flights that don't come to Belize on a regular basis. Copa comes once a week, so this will give us a connection to Copa through San Pedro Sula, as our flight in San Salvador also gives us that connection. I think that this is in the very early stages of regional development, and it'll take us perhaps 2 years before we will see any return on this flight. But we have to start at some time, and I think with the market in Belize full and expanding, I think we don't want to miss the opportunity to expand it further.
Some 40 minutes after boarding the inaugural flight, the first Tropic Air passengers from Belize to San Pedro Sula arrived at the Aeropuerto Internacional Ramon Villeda Morales. Those passengers quickly disembarked, most of them more gracefully than me, and in the arrival area, Tropic Air had a small champagne celebration to note that the very first trip on the new route went just as planned.
Honduras has always been friendly. It's always been a friend of Tropic Air. We've had many invitations to fly into Honduras from the government officials over the years. I remember many years ago, and I can't recall the name of the minister right now, but he came to a meeting here and he said, Tropic Air, you can fly anytime you want to Honduras. Don't need any paperwork, nothing. So no, they've always been friendly.
Greetings to the people from Belize. We're really happy, we're really glad that now we're gonna have an option to travel directly to Belize. I'm myself thinking about going and visiting Belize for the first time, and hopefully we're gonna have a lot of people from Belize traveling to Honduras. We're gonna be able to share more of our culture. So congratulations to Tropic Air.
As I understand it, we have somewhere around 50 or 60,000 people here in Belize with Honduran connections, and so that is an important market for us. The same thing with El Salvador and other parts of Central America. Like I said, we believe that it could be a crucial part in terms of our growth and development for years to come. And so now we're focusing on Central America, Latin America, and then hopefully we can get something out of Europe pretty soon.
Reporting for 7 News, Daniel Ortiz.
Tropic Air's CEO told us that at this time, the flight from Belize to San Pedro Sula is scheduled to operate twice a week, and their marketing team will observe its performance to adjust for additional days if the flow of passengers calls for it. Tourism Minister Anthony Moller said that stakeholders in the industry are trying to recover from between $6 and $7 million in damages caused by Hurricane Lisa. For the past 13 days, we've been showing you residents all over the Belize district who were devastated by Hurricane Lisa. But while land assets took a pounding, what about those who earned a living on the sea? Tonight, the fisher folk of the Belize district are asking GOB to provide them with relief in the form of replacement of their fishing gear, which was swept away when the storm surge hit their fishing camps on the islands off the coast of the Belize district. Their fishing camps were washed away, which is bad enough, but without their fishing gear, well, they can't resume fishing. This afternoon, we spoke with the executive director of the Belize Fishermen Cooperative Association, and he discussed his initial survey of the impact of the storm on his organization's membership.
Our fishing camp doesn't look like nothing. Everything is gone. The camp, the traps, everything, the damage is total. We have to try and scrape back, and thing is, the industry is in peril because what
I interviewed some of the fishers in the near vicinity in Belize City, Mr. Main and others were interviewed, and they lost their traps, their shades, their camps were completely washed away by Hurricane Lisa. So they took if I may put it this way, a licking. That's what they told me. They took a licking from the Hurricane Lisa. As the ED for the BFC, which is the umbrella of the fishing industry, they came to me, and that's what I did the survey, and I asked them to come forward and now make it clear that the nation can hear and see what it's all about.
Yes, sir. In your opinion, what would adequate relief look like? Because there's a lot of need, and the government has to find some way to balance everything.
At this point, it'll be difficult because the water out there, the salt water is still murky. They won't be able to find their traps, and they have not found all their traps or their shade yet. And to say put a dollar value, it will take us at least another month or so before we can really arrive at a figure like that, no?
We also got an opportunity to speak with one of those fishermen who lost everything when the hurricane hit the Belize district. He said that fisher folk have had to recover from previous storms in the past without the help of government aid. Here's how he explained that Hurricane Lisa's impact is different.
Fishing camp doesn't look like nothing. Everything is gone. The camp, the traps, everything, the damage is total. We have to try and scrape back. And the thing is, the industry is in peril because what will be the production for the season if the fishers are not assisted to try to get back their fishing capacity, right?
So you're expecting that products like that are tracked, like lobster and shrimp, those numbers will be down?
They're down. The lobster will be down, and the conch, everything will be down because the fishermen will not be able to produce. If you cannot have adequate finance right now to finance to go to sea, and you're going to sea, you have to finance fuel and food, and then you don't have your traps. Then you'll be working on a basis of what you don't have no sustenance.
Sir, tell us about the price in terms of material and labor to create one of those traps and to get it out to the area where you guys are trying to fish.
Mm-hmm. Well, the price for one of those traps, the traps running like $400 to $600 after you complete that set. And you're not talking about going and taking the lobster out yet. Now, we still cannot assess an accurate assessment because we still have flood waters. We can't locate a lot of our equipment, right? So we're still going through the process of what you call non-production. So we're living on the skin right now. We have to depend on what we can hustle and do around, right? So this is becoming urgent. We went, my fishers that went to sea last Friday, they came back with 3 pounds of lobster. They would usually come back with 30, 60 pounds of lobster on a day like that. And to get to 3 pounds, then that ring the alarm bell. Our production is cut. Consecutive years, we have been going through these storms, and the fisher folks have never been given the assistance that they need. And we have to really come together now and see what we will do. In previous years, you grab and you get up. We're doing the same thing now. We're trying to, but it's different. You could see the difference because you go, if the production was still there, right, we could say we could start to work and build back. But now the production is cut. Why is the production cut? The equipment gone. And not only that, we have different temperatures of water, so we have to start even consider fishing in deeper water.
We'll have more from that interview in tomorrow's newscast when you'll hear this career fisherman explain how climate change is a real thing that is having severe negative impacts on his livelihood. He's the BDF soldier caught on camera in police detention accusing the cops of beating him up while giving them a vicious tongue lashing. Well, 26-year-old Freddie Grijalva from Corozal was slapped with 6 counts for cursing out the cops. And today in court, he pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of assaulting a police officer, using threatening words, using insulting words, using obscene language, and disorderly conduct at the Queen Street Police Station. Grijalva was represented by attorney Daryl Bradley, and they made the point that today in court was the first time he learned the number of charges he is facing. Police had originally indicated that it would just be 2 charges. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you about a dangerous curve on the George Price Highway that left 1 man in a coma and killed another in 2 different accidents. Don't go away.
Skip the trip to the bank and perform cash withdrawals at your neighborhood store with Atla Express. Withdrawals are now free, and customers can withdraw up to $300 daily. All you need is your Atlantic Bank Visa debit card along with an ID. Atla Express is easy, convenient, secure, and near you. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Edwin Lewis Cole said, "Being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice." I salute to all the fathers, brothers, partners, teachers, mentors, businessmen, professionals, fishers, farmers, and all my fellow men who are living a honest, productive, and peaceful life, caring for their loved ones and their communities. Now more than ever, Belize needs you to show our boys and young men how to become real men.
We encourage you to celebrate International Men's Day on November 19th under the theme Recognizing Belizean Men and Boys. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Families and Children in collaboration with UNICEF.
Time to wake up. Time to prepare for the day. Time to learn. Time to make a difference. Time to look after yourself. Time to see your healthcare provider. Don't let cervical cancer stop you from unleashing your potential. Now is the time to get vaccinated. Now is the time to get screened. Now is the time to end cervical cancer. For more information, visit us at www.paho.org/endcervicalcancer.
Sun up with us this Wednesday, November 16th, as we sit down with Prime Minister John Briceño. He's here to reflect on the 2 years in office, the aftermath of Hurricane Lisa, and where Belize is headed as 2022 comes to a close. That's coming up on Wednesday, only on Sun Up on 7.
Balisi, chuluhal unsuhati, lidane ha talugro huna gamisa mikado, agamba humana, dahal lu talugro huna gamisa loag hawayur garinogu, loago disinefu. Hanere mebeleweri labro haibegi, chuluhu maya mikado 14 luma disinefu lida hatile. Sisi wei lu areda hane huagurugu, mabule du hubei hafedu garinogu loagi rumole. Libido age kati lida ge sunle, mama luti hofudaha laduga yimbe saragu da, tuma saragu gamisa luha gainha. Gumesege huma, abia humamuge luweri la dewe ha mikado. Mabule da hume labro ha luma luna bibegile yara mikado. 14 luma disinefu lida hatile. Mabule da humele herengu be meisturugu. Gibe tumat hewaro tabulu dunuru to tulugebo. Nerenga yale labro ha luma luna bebegile 14 luma disinefu lida hatile. Aniha wa dewe ha. Lida bagay ha wama yembe aba deweti lu agaye gurguba yara mikado. Luagu uma darandi sedu Lemery Albert. Tubi bara tubido age gamisa.
It's an massive season with massive deals and rewards at Penny's. From now through December 31st, earn double P-Bucks on store-wide purchasing every Friday and Saturday. That's right, 2 times the P-Bucks, which means 2 times the cash back when shopping at Penny's. Plus, get even more rewards with P-Bucks Builders on home goods, tiles, appliances, paints, and lights. And don't forget, there's also massive deals and discounts on tiles and the best brands in paints like Benjamin Moore and BH. Rewards, deals, P-Bucks. You can get it all this massive season only at Penny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, one man is dead and another remains in a coma after they were victims of 2 different accidents which occurred 25 hours apart on the very same stretch of road. The first happened on Sunday night, while the second, involving a cop who was gathering evidence from the first, happened last night. Cherise Helsal traveled west this afternoon to look at the regrettable chain of events that's left 2 children without a father and the Middleton family to mourn their brother and son.
This curb on the Western Highway has proven particularly dangerous in the last 72 hours. On Sunday, it saw Blackman Eddy resident Desmond Gordon fall out of a vehicle and sustain the head injury that's left him in a coma. And even more tragically, last night, Shannon Middleton, a cop helping to process the scene, was clipped and dragged into this culvert by a drunk driver. He didn't survive. And this afternoon, we spoke to Shannon's brother, Javan, about the tragic manner in which his brother lost his life.
Well, I'm not sure if he was on duty or not, but I know it's his wife's job to process crime scenes and or whatever scene it is, and he was with her, and he was basically standing, I guess, outside of the vehicle, and when the drunk driver came and swept him off the road and into the drain, I think slamming him into the windshield of the vehicle, then slamming him into the culvert head, which I think where his head impacted the wall. No?
Someone else had just been knocked down there the night.
That was very, very, very shocking. I did not expect that when I got the call. I just thought it was just another random incident. That it was terrible, and my sister-in-law had sight witching. She had called me, she was crying, and so I just thought it was something bad that happened, but I would have never figured it was to her or to my brother.
Your brother accompanies her on these types of crime scenes from time to time, doesn't he?
Yes, I believe he does. Yeah, I believe he does. Yeah. So I mean, he is in the force, so it is only right, and I mean, it's his wife as well, so I wouldn't blame him.
But tonight's information to 7 News is that the lower ranks of the police department are disgruntled that their brother-in-arms died while off duty, seemingly working outside of his Belmopan jurisdiction. And while his brother knows that he'd been helping his wife, he agrees with the lamentable nature of the death, saying that of all the ways the family thought they could lose their son, the lawman, this wasn't one.
We share that brotherly love that we know that one day we all have to go. I just hate the way that he went. It was just, I thought he would more likely got caught up, maybe crossfire or something, or getting sick, but not being knocked down. That is just worse by a drunk driver. It's just tragic, and I will forever miss my brother, and I'm still in disbelief. I can't get the image out of my head of when I arrived there and going to hold him down on the ground when he was already gone.
And what about the man whose injury started the entire tragic chain of events? This afternoon, his sister told us he's still fighting for his life.
Well, so far my sister said that they did a CT scan yesterday, and they have a swelling in my brain. So then they try to get the swelling to go down. And then she said this morning, the doctor may tell her that they may want try to wake up and like stop giving the medication, make it sleep. So they may try to see if he can wake up, and from there they may see how they could continue to carry down the swelling and stuff. Then afterwards they may try the process to take off of the life support to see if he could manage on his own. So we hope and pray that everything goes well and he recover.
Charisse Halto, 7 News.
Middleton leaves behind 2 children, an 11-year-old boy and a 4-month-old daughter. Desmond Gordon remains in a stable condition at the KHMH. Turning back now to yesterday's launch of the People's Constitutional Reform Committee, we're taking a look at the moment PM Briceño was asked whether the 18-month timeline given to the commission is fixed or flexible. Here's what he said about that in the context of inclusivity and effectiveness.
We talk about whether it's going to be additional time or not. I mean, obviously, if there's good reason for more additional time, we will. But we need to set a timeline, or else we're going to be talking forever and then nothing is going to happen. We want to ensure that there's a timeline where we can have the extensive discussions and consultations, and then some time to be able to put together the thoughts and ideas of the people. Now, it doesn't mean that what everybody says is going to be fit into a constitution. You take the ideas and the general feeling of the populace, and then you set it up within the framework of a constitution for it to be able to be presented to the people for adoption or not.
What about those groups who feel that their voices won't exactly be prominent in this particular constitutional reform? Well, the PM says if they think that they're wrong, that's because it's the people and not the People's Committee who will have the final say.
But this is where I differ from what you're saying. I mean, they're totally wrong. Simply because the commission as it is way too big. The commission is not going to determine what's going to be on the framework of the Constitution. It is the people. So that everybody, every group, every individual, be it political party, religious, social, whatever it is, everybody will have an opportunity to be able to present their views. And then when you take all of the views together, then you extract what is workable and what can be fashioned into a constitution that truly reflects the will of the people.
And with that, all that was left was a guarantee that the People's Constitutional Committee really belongs to the people and not to some government or political interest. Yesterday, PM Briceño told the press that while all political parties have representation, GOB has done its best to give its independence.
Well, we went at great lengths to be able to ensure that there's a separation between the government and the commission, and that the government is not represented on the commission. What we have is the political parties that are represented, not only the PUP, but the opposition, and we even found a way to include the smaller third parties for them to collectively get representation. So we have ensured that we are giving them their budget. It's an independent budget, and they're going to manage their budget to ensure that we can try to be as independent as we possibly can. But in a small society like ours, somebody could find something to say, oh, the Prime Minister said something, or the Minister said something, or the opposition. But our objective is to try to be able to be as objective as possible and to try to stay away from the actual workings of the Commission.
As we've told you, the PCC has a timeline of 18 months, most of which will be taken up with education campaigns. That process is expected to culminate with a package of referendums on constitutional amendments. More on that in tomorrow's newscast. Tonight, the Belize Sugar Cane Farmers Association and the Millers ASR-BSI are no closer to resolving their differences so that a commercial agreement can be signed in time for the start of the new crop season, which is now only a few weeks away. Last Thursday, you heard the robust rebuttal from the ASR executive, Mac McClellan. He was responding to the new head of the BSCFA, who said that BSI-ASR wasn't treating the appointment of a mediator with the appropriate level of urgency. Well, the BSCFA head table today took a third bite at that cherry in an extended press conference held at their Orange Walk office. Here's what their CEO had to say about the procedures that the two sides agreed they would use to appoint a mediator in their protracted dispute.
We just want to clarify that there have been certain assertions made regarding this mediation process which is not correct, right? It is true we have agreed with BSI on the terms of reference of this agreement, of this mediation, and these terms of reference for the mediation clearly spells out the process by which the mediator would be selected, which is different from what was mentioned by BSI in their recent media pronouncements. I think it is clear in the terms of reference, and at the point where we are, that we would have each submitted a list of possible nominees for the to be considered as mediator, and we are in the process of engaging in that, and that was our last communication with BSI to finalize the terms of reference which have been finalized and to begin that process, and we have spelled out the entire process how that mediation, the selection of the mediator would be undertaken. So we just want to clarify, right, that BSI has mentioned something about attitude, right? And I think this further displays the attitude that BSI has been showing, not only in regards to this mediation process, but since the whole process of negotiations begun, okay? And where we have clear steps and processes defined, but it seems that these steps and processes are only convenient when it suits BSI for them to follow, okay? So, as I said, we are still awaiting the process of exchanging lists of nominees for consideration of the mediator, right? That's where we are right now in terms of the mediation. We want it clear, to be made clear, right, that we are intent on having an agreement signed before the crop commences, okay? That has been our objective and our commitment since we started the negotiation process, and we have not deviated from that.
The BSCFA head table turned to the chairman of their finance committee to express their frustration at the assertions from the millers that they have not provided an adequate economic justification for their counter-proposals as to why the commercial agreement isn't fair and equitable to their membership. Here's Javier Kemis, that his main argument against that position.
The presentation that they have been putting forward to the heirs of the cane farmers seem to be like a blatant insult. They claim that the proposal that BSCFA is putting forward is condemning BSI to bankruptcy, that there hasn't been any financial rationale presented by BSCFA on the proposal that BSCFA is bringing forward. And that is a false statement. We presented to them in our last negotiation meeting the rationale, how the history has shown from 2006 up to 2021, last crop, how the value of the revenues that has been collected over the years for the sale of sugar and molasses has been decreasing. I don't understand what other kind of rationale they want to justify the proposal of BSCFA. Why do I say this? Because on their behalf, what they call a financial rationale for their position is their millions of dollars of investment. That's the only rationale that they have been putting forward. The last statement they made on that regard is that they invest $60 million as an operation cost every year. Farmers also have an investment in the millions every year. In the last press conference, I mentioned some figures on how we as farmers, on an average of $27 on every ratoon of cane that is delivered, is an investment of the farmer on the production sector. On an average of $27. You add that the $30 average of harvesting and delivery, it arises to a close of $57 that the farmer invests every year. You put that in a volume of 1 million tons in production, that's $57 million on average that the farmers put every year. So hand in hand, they can't come and say that the farmers are not investing.
He also challenged the millers on their views that the reason their profit margins are so low is that they need to increase their efficiency in the amount of cane produced for every acre of land under cultivation. Here are those counterpoints.
They threw another point in that we as farmers need to be more efficient in the production. We know that. We know that Belize has one of the lowest yield per acre in the region. We are cognizant of that. But that is a consequence of the payment we get for the payment of ton of cane. That is a natural consequence to it. Farmers can't put what the agro inputs needed to boost that yield up. Why I can say this so rightfully? Because in 2012-13, we had a certification in fair trade, and we embarked in a massive replanting program, which included millions of dollars invested in fertilizers and replanting of so many acres of land every year. In 2014, history can tell, you go to the figures, and we exceeded the capacity of the mill. 2014 was one of the first years that we exceeded the capacity of the mill. So there is proof that farmers know what to do when the funds and the finances are available. We know what to do, but it has to come in hand with the payment we get per ton. We know that in the economies of scale, there is a horizontal growth possible. We know that. But we also know that there is a value to the product itself, and that is what we are looking for. We are not just comparing the dollar value per ton that is being paid to farmers in other countries. We are also analyzing the percent of the gross revenues that are obtained from the sale of such product.
ASR BSI has scheduled a press event for tomorrow at their Tower Hill factory, and most likely they will want to respond to some of the comments made in today's press conference. We'll tell you about that in tomorrow's newscast. And that's all we have for you for tonight. Thanks for watching With Your News. I'm Indra Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see streaming video on our Facebook page. Tune in again tomorrow morning for Sun Up on 7 when Prime Minister John Briceño will be in studio discussing Hurricane Lisa recovery and 2 years of a PUP GOP. Have a great night. Stay safe. Join me back here tomorrow at 6.